Putin and Prigozhin, head of Wagner, met 5 days after the attempted coup. On Monday, the Kremlin announced that Vladimir Putin had met with Yevgeny Prigozhin, the leader of the Wagner mercenaries, 5 days after the group had marched towards Moscow in a brief rebellion. The June 29 meeting lasted for 3 hours, and the Russian president invited 35 people. Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov confirmed that the meeting included Wagner unit commanders. According to Peskov, the commanders told Putin that they would continue to fight for Prigozhin despite the meeting. It follows last month's most serious threat to Putin's authority since he became Russia's leader in 1999, when Prigozhin and his troops briefly seized control of the southern city of Rostov. It was diffused thanks to an agreement brokered by Alexander Lukashenko, president of Belarus. Lukashenko claimed last week that the Wagner chief was back in Russia, despite the fact that he was supposed to leave for Belarus as part of the deal. Prigozhin has stated that the mutiny's goal was not the overthrow of the government, but rather the bringing to justice of the army and defense chiefs for their blunders and unprofessional actions in Ukraine. The basics. Zelensky claims Ukraine has the initiative in the conflict. PM Sunak to host Vice President Joe Biden today. He stresses the importance of alliances. Britain's Ministry of Defense estimates that Russia is suffering 400 casualties per day as a result of the conflict in Ukraine. Medvedev, a close associate of Putin, has threatened to bomb nuclear power plants in Ukraine and Europe. Cluster munitions sent to Ukraine have prompted accusations of war crimes from Russia. Zelensky claims Ukraine has the initiative in the conflict. After making progress outside the eastern city of Bakhmut, Volodymyr Zelensky claims that Ukrainian forces have taken the initiative in a larger counteroffensive. Mr. Zelensky said, "We would all love to see the counteroffensive accomplished in a shorter period of time," adding that Ukraine is advancing, albeit not as fast as we would like. However, there is the truth. Right now, we're the ones with the upper hand. Every day that passes means more Ukrainian lives are lost, so we all want to get to work as soon as possible. We are making progress. He told the American ABC News Network, "We are not stuck," after the military had overcome a kind of stagnation in recent months. A Russian lawmaker claims that Moscow can rely on China's friendly shoulder. After meeting with Chinese President Xi Jinping on Monday, the Speaker of Russia's upper house of parliament said that Moscow and Beijing would continue working together, and that Moscow could always count on China's friendly shoulder. According to Valentina Matvienko, "We can count on a firm and reliable friendly shoulder in China." Japan's Prime Minister Kishida plans to meet with Ukraine's Zelensky at the NATO summit, according to Kyoto. An unnamed government source told Kyoto News Agency on Monday that Japanese Prime Minister Fumio Kishida is planning to meet with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky on Wednesday, on the margins of the NATO summit. Upon the conclusion of the war sparked by Russia's invasion, Zelensky will travel to Lithuania for a summit of the US-led Security Pact's leaders to advocate for Ukraine's admission into NATO. At the Group of Seven summit in May in Hiroshima, the Ukrainian leader surprised Kishida by flying in on a French plane to the Japanese city notorious for being the target of the first atomic bombing. The Kremlin has nothing new to say about the grain deal in the Black Sea. The Kremlin said on Monday that the Black Sea grain export deal, which expires next week, had not changed and that no new information was available. Dmitry Peskov, a spokesman for the Kremlin, recently told reporters that President Vladimir Putin would not be meeting with his Turkish counterpart Tayyip Erdogan to discuss renewing the deal during Putin's upcoming visit to Turkey. On multiple occasions, Moscow has stated that it sees no reason to extend the grain deal past July 17. Ukraine can now ship grain out of its Black Sea ports thanks to the agreement, but Russia claims not enough has been done to facilitate its own grain and fertilizer exports.